Hi, this is Ben from the band Lind Optical. We're back again with another one of our behind the scenes videos. In this video we're looking at the making of our song called Paradise, and in particular we're focusing on a particular one-note guitar riff which occurs throughout pretty much the whole song. So we know what we're talking about, let's just isolate it and listen to it on its own. Okay, good. Now let's have a listen to it in context of the final mix, just so we can see how it fits in with everything else. So, where did this guitar riff come from? Well, actually it was early on in the writing process. I started by just finding some samples that I wanted. I had a different band which I sampled from for the chorus, and another band that I sampled from for the verse. For the verse I sampled from a band called Fields of the Nephilim. Now what I often do when I'm putting a track together is, when I've got a main sample I want to use, I'll quite often look around for other samples on other songs by the same band to see if there's any other isolated vocal bits that I could use in maybe a middle section of my new song that I'm writing. So I was doing this with the Fields of Nephilim, and I came across a Fields of Nephilim song called Blue Water. Now this has quite an interesting isolated vocal sample at the beginning, which you can hear here. But then it kicks in with the main groove of the song. Now, for some reason, I wasn't really planning on doing this, but I was a bit stuck for something to do and was just playing around. My attention got drawn to the guitar riff at the start of this song, Blue Water. And I decided for something to do to just see if I could fit it into my new track. And I did, and it sounded really good. So much so that I ended up keeping it, and it became an integral part of the track that really tied the whole thing together, tied these different chorus and verse sections together into a unified track. So, how do we end up going from this in the original track to this in our new track? Well, let's see. We start by playing the original Blue Water track, but then as soon as we get to the bits where the guitars kick in, we catch a one-bar loop which includes part of the drum fill. But then it's in the wrong key, so we pitch it down to a lower note. It's still too fast, so we slow it down. It still sounds too full on, so we pick one of the guitar notes and pull the volume of it down so there's a bit of a gap. But that's not actually the end of the story, because I fitted it in with the rest of the track and it sounded great. But the verse goes on for quite a long time, and it was actually starting to sound a bit repetitive, and I came up with the idea that actually I could take some of the notes of the guitar riff that are all just repeating one note, and actually move the pitch of those notes up to different notes to make a little guitar riff melody that sort of moves around. So we ended up going from this to this. Let's have a listen to how it actually sounds in the finished track. But that's actually not the end of the story either, because in another section of the song, in the middle section, there's this big evil bass sound that sounds like this. Believe it or not, this bass sound actually came from the same guitar sample that we've been looking at in this video. How do we get there? Well, let's have a listen. We'll start with the guitar riff here. And we'll cut out a load of the notes. Then we'll add a big evil distortion sound to it. Then we'll roll off all the treble high-end frequencies and just end up with booming bass left over at the end. There you have it. So let's have a listen to how that ended up sounding in the final mix. Great, well thanks very much for watching. I'm Ben from Lind Optical and look forward to seeing you in another one of our videos soon. Thanks very much. Bye.